Philadelphia uplink successful. Welcome back, Commander. Today's threat level is elevated. The state of the planet is deteriorating. Tiberium infestation has reached critical levels. Red zones have suffered the worst contamination and cannot support human life. Yellow zones are dangerously contaminated, but contain most of the world's population. Decades of war and civil unrest have left these regions in a state of social collapse. The remainder of the Earth's surface is unscarred by Tiberium outbreak. These blue zones are considered the last refuge and hope of the civilized world, and are under the protection of the Global Defense Initiative. You will start your worldwide tour of duty commanding the GDI forces stationed on the eastern seaboard of the United States. Good luck, Commander.
Ladies and gents, this is Redeemer Alliance with the Mark of Cain. And this map is Black's Big Battle, in case you can't tell. And so let's have the lowdown of what's happening. This is my enemy for the matchup, who we are calling Bob. And he is the Black Hand Nod. Hello, Bobo. You naughty, naughty fool. And this is me, your ever-loving exploder, as the Mark of Cain Nod here on the south. And I'm already off to a good start. So let's tell you a few things about the map. Both players start near a smallish tip field. It will go down pretty fast in the early stages. Also, near your main base, you're going to have a complete circle of these tip spikes. So you're going to have around 7 or 8 of them. I keep on forgetting. I think it's 8 actually. Sorry if I put 7 there and it's actually 8, but I think it's 8. Yeah, it is. It is. So you have 8 tip spikes, which will give you a heck of a load of economy. Now, if you're at the south, you would have this tip field at the southwest. If you're at the north, you would have this at the northeast. So you can definitely expand to this area. Also, near those tip fields, you're going to find 3 mutant hovels. So you'll be able to have mutants galore. I don't really like mutants, but if you want to make a last stand, I guess this would be your perfect way to have a last stand. Okay, now that you guys have seen the mutant hovels, let's have a look at the other parts of the map. If the map actually changes the background. There you go. So right, this is the northwest of the map, where you have another smallest tip field, and that's the same to the southeast as well. And the map on this is completely symmetrical, as most maps are, so not to be worried. If you can find one tip spot, it's probably going to be, your enemy is probably going to be garrisoned near another tip spot similar to where you're placed, but on the other side obviously. And then also close to your main base you have this Mahusive tip field, which can definitely help you in the stages of the game. I know that for a fact. This tip field can change the tides of the battle, definitely. You can even hide an outpost in that tip field to try and confuse your opponents, which I find is pretty darn cool. Okay, my base is looking alright, and this is what I did in the beginning. I made a load of engineers, you might have seen them in the beginning, and I caught every single one of those tip spikes. So my economy is already going up pretty darn well in the early stages. Let's see what Bob's got. He's already got his secondary build queue, which ain't bad at all. He's just sold off a refinery just to get harvester. So he's got 2 refineries, power plant, 2 power plants, and a hand of nod. And he's also got that 1 unit of Confessor Cabals. That's a nice way to start off. Even though in this match Bob was a right idiot and a right turtler. You're going to see what I mean in the later parts when you'll view the fact that he is a dumbass. One thing I almost forgot, Also in the northwest and the southeast, you have turrets and bunkers near bridges. Not forgetting, you also have bunkers and turrets near this bridge, which is practically in the centre of the map, so there's no probs. If you look here, I have 2 harvesters already. I've got 2 refineries, so that's nice. Already got a war factory up as well, which is double nice. And Bob's just kind of like me, to be honest. He's got a heck of a lot more power plants, in my view. Okay, instead of scouting in the early parts of the game, Bob has decided to garrison a couple of buildings in the name of the Black Hand. I'm not saying that's a bad idea, it's alright. It just depends if he can hold the line with those buildings. I'm not sure what units he's put inside those buildings, but whatever they are, they're obviously there for a good purpose. Maybe because I might be using aircraft, maybe because I might be using other things. We're not 100% sure, you're going to have to wait until a little bit later on. That's me, my base is coming along, and look, yes, I had an emissary out, and so I sent it here, which is to the edge of where my circle of tip spikes are, and I'm making a defensive perimeter in a line to make sure that if anyone decides to come in and try to take those tip spikes, I'm going to be there, going to have a little shootout and hopefully deal with them. If I can't deal with them, I'll just take a couple of units and put them up there for the defence. No problema. As for Bob, well, he hasn't really changed. Well, he's got a Scorpion tank. Yay! 1 Scorpion tank. Great job, Bob. Okay, make that 2 Scorpion tanks. Great job, Bob. Great job. And oh no, he sent Confessor Cabal squads inside a tip field, defending an outpost which is not even deployed, and guess what's happening to the Confessor Cabals? That's right, they're dying because they're in the middle of a flippin' tip field, you stupid mofo. First wall of units, either send them into a tip field when they've got a proper defence for it, or send them into a tip field once the tib isn't there. Simple. But obviously Bob doesn't like that. As you can see, I've got the perfect line of defences there, and the pink line shows practically the perimeter where the enemy could come from, and if they come in that area, they will be completely wiped off the face of the earth. Unless they occupy some of the buildings, then that might be a little bit of trouble, but it shouldn't be trouble for too long. Look what I've done. I've got a handful of bikes here, and I'm sending them off to my enemy's base. Don't worry, my enemy will not find them, because that's right, I've used that cloaking ability that the Marked of Cain have in the early stages, cloaked these attack bikes, and so I'm sending them up to my enemy's base to do 2 things. 1 is to scout, and 2 is to deal a blow to him. Now, a person did this to me in an online match, and it really annoyed me, but I did manage to get back on track. This is a very good thing to do if you're not in the early stages and want to scout and also take out your enemy's economy in the early stages. What I want to do is send a squad of attack bikes, about 5 or 4, cloak them, send them into your enemy's main tib field, and then once you see any harvesters, take them out 1 at a time. If you can take out all his harvesters by the time he notices that you're attacking, that's really cool. But if he notices you're attacking and manages to find your units, I suggest leg it back to your base, wait for him to calm down a little bit, then rinse and repeat. Doing this will make sure that your opponent's economy will be really, really crippled due to the fact that his harvesters will continuously be destroyed, and also the fact that he's going to have to build more harvesters, so yeah. You could also do this in another way by attacking the tib spike so that he can't occupy them. But I prefer this way. I prefer it because it just does. It's so much easier to do, in my view. everything's off to a good start, and I'll see you in part 2.